we need to have an uncomfortable conversation about the current state of the anime community, the cultural shift within the anime community, and the ramifications of just how anime being popular thanks to the COVID era has really damaged the community, I think, more than I think a lot of us realize. But on top of that, we are seeing a cultural shift that can lead two different directions if things are probably not changed to some degree. So let's get right into that. Basically, as you can see from this post here I'm showing on screen, this is a post that has been blowing up, and this is not the only post that has been blowing up as of late. There's a lot of posts that are very similar to this, a lot of people outspoken about a current situation with the anime community. There's a lot of people that are trying to, force anime, the anime community, and anime in general and manga to conform to their ideals. You have, people basically having a problem with someone just calling a person or a character a waifu. You have, people fighting back and saying, like, we need to gatekeep more. There is obviously a cultural shift. I mean, we even have, overall discussions of people trying to bring politics into anime with, like, Freerin, for instance, and this is something that is continuously discussed a lot. There's just been a lot of, like, movement culturally within the anime and manga community space, especially in the last year, but in the last few weeks, there has been pushback against a lot of these negatives that's been happening, and I'll get into all of that. But firstly, we need to get into what I'm really trying to talk about, kind of, simplify this video a little bit. So basically, the anime community has experienced rapid growth as of late in the last, I say, 5 years. And it really all starts with 2019, actually, with Demon Slayer getting very popular. And I'm not necessarily blaming Demon Slayer or anything like that, but Demon Slayer was a gateway vessel for a lot of people to dive in to anime for the first time. I remember when episode 18, I think that was the episode that really caused the series to kick off, because I was there. I remember actively reviewing Demon Slayer weekly at the time, and I remember the episode just did so well that you had celebrities, actual celebrities in Hollywood and stuff, actively talking about Demon Slayer. They never have talked about anime ever, and they started talking about anime a lot at that point, mainly Demon Slayer. And it caused a lot of people that were, let's say, fans of these celebrities and other people to start watching Demon Slayer, and it caused quite a boom. It caused anime to grow at an accelerated rate, and a lot of people that have never experienced anime before decided to dive headfirst into it. Then, shortly after all that happened with Demon Slayer, 2020 hit, and I think we all know what 2020 did to the entire world, not just, let's say, anime and manga, but just the entire world. Everybody was affected by, COVID, every industry was affected by COVID, every country was affected by COVID. It was obviously a worldwide thing that affected everyone's lives. And obviously, with a lot of lockdowns and people really not being able to leave their own homes, it resulted in a lot of people diving into content that they normally wouldn't do because they were no longer busy with their personal lives. They can no longer go outside and go partying. They no longer could go, do their work or jobs. They no longer could maybe go on hikes or go to parks. They basically had to stay home and be isolated from everyone else. And so this resulted in a lot of people that, were bored to dive into gaming a lot, which there's been a big boom with gaming, and there's a lot of toxicity and cultural war and all sorts of discussion with gaming, and we have seen it. Everybody probably has seen it at this point. If you're an anime fan, most likely you have seen the gaming discussion as well as of late within the gaming industry. But the point is, alongside of gaming, anime experienced the exact same thing. With COVID hitting, a lot of people that necessarily never would have touched anime, like certain people would have never touched it if it wasn't for boredom and them sitting down and watching what was the mainstream at the time in 2020, which gets us into the big topic. With COVID, it caused a lot of people that would normally actually shun anime and would call people weirdos or bully anime fans to sit down and probably watch something like Demon Slayer, watch something like JJK, watch something like Chainsaw Man, and it resulted in these people getting this very warped view on anime, that all anime needs to be basically this action, animation fest that is just straight up beautiful, like what Studio Mappa has done. And there's a whole different topic and can of worms to talk about, but it caused a lot of people that were very new to anime to have these very overall high expectations that all anime should look exactly like JJK, all anime should look exactly like Demon Slayer, all anime should look exactly like Chainsaw Man. And you can see where the fundamental issue starts to, go into, is that these individuals that never would have touched anime expect all anime to be like that, and so when they start seeing the anime and manga community discussing things that are necessarily not the same, they start to view it in a very weird way, which results in this situation. A lot of people that have been diving into the anime community, more or less, are not willing to adapt to the anime community and manga community. They want to force the communities to be molded into their ideal, instead of, basically adapting and trying to integrate. They're forcing others to integrate to their ideals, and it feels like an invasion of the very community, and I feel like it's kind of disrespectful, honestly. And it's a very similar situation to what happened with the gaming community. I don't really want to go over all the, the different bullet points of the gaming community, but there is definitely people out there on YouTube alone that has talked about this extensively. And with just the overwhelming popularity that gaming got in just the 2010s, and then in the 2020s, there was definitely a massive shift that caused, gaming to change forever. And we have seen a fundamental blowback on the gaming industry as of late, thanks to the cultural shift with it around the world as well. And I feel like now within the 2020s, we are seeing basically the early stages of what happened to the gaming community now in the 2020s, which I think is pretty scary. And this gets into what I was talking about, course correcting, or a direction that the community and the industry can go at this point. So here's the thing, there's different directions to go, but one of the big fundamental things that is really concerning is that anime now reaching new heights of popularity, it has led people to now seek anime to be censored or not do certain things that it once did, that it's very known for. And one actual big drama that is happening right now, which is even trending, which is crazy, Haruhi is trending right now, and this one is wild, honestly. But a lot of these new fans don't even know the cultural impact of Haruhi, which is fine. Not everybody's gonna know all the ins and outs of what makes, the anime community, the anime industry, but it's very clear just like how new fans have been reacting. This post right here is a very good example of it. This individual basically called Haruhi a Diddy anime. And I'm just like, this is something you have seen increasingly a lot as of late. This isn't just necessarily on Haruhi. This is just for anything that is outside mainstream shonen. If it's not, like I said, JJK or Chainsaw Man or Dawn to Dawn or something, this is people's honest reactions to what basically all anime is. And in fact, it's crazy that this individual called Haruhi a 1980s anime when it's a late 2000s anime. And yeah, that's still technically old at this point, but it is nowhere near, 1980s anime. The overall art style shift from 80s anime to the 2000s is so significant and different that you just cannot compare the two. But the reason why I'm bringing up this post is that these posts are becoming increasingly common, and there's just so much negativity around shows that are outside modern shonen or different mainstream shows that it might actually affect Japan. And you're probably wondering, how so? Well, I've been very thorough and talked about it as of late a lot in just the last few months alone, that we have actively seen actual Western companies, mainly card companies, force Japan to try to bow down and censor the said content. We've seen it a lot, and there's definitely a push to really just censor a lot of fan service content, anything necessarily that would be considered lewd or, just, showing a little bit of cleavage or anything like that, that is considered evil in a lot of people's minds, especially in the new gen eyes for a lot of these individuals. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that we have seen a lot of Western companies trying to control Japan and censor them a lot. We have seen countries as well do this. Australia is a good example of that too. And what I'm trying to say is that we're at a point, because of how big anime has gotten since the 2020s and so much money is being funneled into the industry, Japan's companies are obviously going to listen to these other companies and other communities to be able to make more money. And you can't necessarily blame the Japanese companies because obviously at the end of the day, they're there to make money, to sell their products and get their products out there. But I feel like it's going to turn very toxic because if these companies continue to push these narratives very similar to what's happened to the gaming community, it will result in anime being fundamentally changed and censored and not even looking the same as it has in the past, which that is what legitimately concerns me, because the overall narrative I have seen in just the last year alone, there is just so much blowback against anything that is fan service related or anything outside of mainstream. If it is anything that is different than that, it is basically considered a Epstein-Diddy-like show, which is crazy. And so this gets back into the main bullet points, is that a lot of people that are coming into the anime community, I'm not saying everybody, but most post-COVID fans are not trying to integrate. They're more or less trying to make the community conform to their ideology. I don't like that. And so this is an observation I have had as of late, and I feel like it's very important to talk about, because I've seen blowback on this as well, and I guess this is the last stage of the video to talk about. I have noticed in the last week, there is a lot of big creators, or a lot of big accounts, especially on social media, that has been basically doing a lot of pushback against these very active individuals that want to just force anime to change for their ideals, and I think that we are currently witnessing a cultural shift. I don't know necessarily if it will stick around, but I do think in general that I'm glad to see that there is people now outspoken about this and talking about it, which is what brought this up to me wanting to discuss. It's a video topic I have wanted to make for a while, and I'm glad to see that I'm not alone in what people have been saying. Which, speaking of which, a lot of this drama that has been happening to as of late, to the free run stuff here, to the whole waifu thing that's going on here and stuff, it actually all spawns from my post here with my dress up darling. Ironically enough, somehow I managed to get like 3 different dramas and controversies within the anime community sparked out of control thanks to this. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or not, but it has definitely brought a lot of conversation around the anime community. So take that as you will. Also, once again, you know, this post calling me basically a pedo because my dress up darling, which is crazy because this is such a reconstruction of history. You go back to like when my dress up darling aired, like 2023, I believe it is, or 2022. You know, my dress up darling was everybody was cheering for it and gushing basically over Marin within the show, but suddenly in 2025, the big 2025, it's taboo to talk about it. This gets into the point I'm talking about. So, anyways, I will leave it at that. It just wanted to discuss this. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the topic. How do you feel about it? Be honest in the comments below. But I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi outs.